Hello, my curious archaeogastronomers. This is the Delicious Legacy Podcast. I'm your curious and ever-hungry host, Thom. Welcome back to another episode, and I'm delighted to have you here with me today because I've got a very special guest, Cathy Erway, a Taiwanese food writer and cook, where she's going to tell us all about traditional cuisine in the beautiful island of Taiwan. But firstly, I want to tell you that the Delicious Legacy needs your help. Please leave a rating and a review wherever you get your podcast from. That will help the podcast grow and basically spread the word around different audiences all across the world. So once you listen to this episode, please go to your Apple Podcasts or Pocket Casts or Acast or wherever else you get your podcast from and put a 5-star rating, please. And if you have time, a lovely review, 5 stars. We need all the help we can get and all your support to grow and get out there to more and more people. The podcast world is in a very interesting place. So, Other ways you can help the podcast is to leave some money if you can. So if you have £5 to spare, go to Ko-Fi, so ko-fi.com/The Delicious Legacy Podcast, all one word. And you can leave one-off donation for £5 or monthly if you want to. Otherwise, you can join me on Patreon. We'll have a growing community there. And from $3 a month, you can be a subscriber and a member there, and you get the podcasts early and ad-free, and also you get bonus video recipes and other writings and musings by me. And now, off we go to our episode, all about the foods of Taiwan. It's a small, mountainous, wild and beautiful island. It has very high peaks, mountainous and forested, well above 3,000 meters. And, of course, the most warm and hospitable people. The island has a great food scene too, and eating, in my opinion, is their national pastime. Taiwan is shaped like a sweet potato, and actually loves sweet potato too. It's one of the foods of the local indigenous people. It has been inhabited for millennia from the original Austronesian tribes and peoples. And they were agile hunters hunting for mountain pig, aka wild boar, and that has been part of their diet for millennia. There's also millet wine, which is a mildly alcoholic and served all day throughout the indigenous communities. And of course, Taiwan is a very complex and complicated place. There are many people, many languages, especially the indigenous ones, and of course, many cultures from before China and the first wave of Chinese immigrants in the 16th century, and of course, Japanese, and many, many other things that create the unique character of the island. In a sense, collectively, we cannot really think of them as Chinese per se, as the mainland China. And of course, their food is far more diverse than we think. And on this episode, we're going to see some of the main dishes and foods and how they came about in Taiwan. Of course, the political and economic history of Taiwan, the last century or so, it's very, very interesting and complicated too. And that's another and that's another episode in itself, to be honest. So I think I would encourage you to find out more about Taiwan if you're interested in this subject. And check it out. It's many things, many surprises, and many different twists and turns in the history of this island. I personally find their food amazing and the people equally great. And of course, it's a beautiful place. And I want to talk about the traditional foods on this episode. And before I go to the main body of the episode with Cathy Erway, I would like to just mention a couple of things that made big impression on me food-wise. Chu tofu is eaten in all kinds of ways. steamed, stir-fried, braised, deep-fried, boiled. I had it in a spring roll. For the aficionados, Taiwan's stinky tofu has been long famous for its unique aroma. The dish me and my wife ordered was one of the 5, I think, dishes we decided to get on our first night and our first dinner in Taipei. As I blew on it to cool it down, somehow then I grabbed a piece with my chopsticks and the stench filled my nose. Didn't seem to be actually bad somehow. Have I conquered the most challenging item of the menu on my first sight? Have I transformed this into an appetizing and fragrant delicacy? Well, dear listener, the question is how can ordinary tofu, basically the bean curd, can be turned into an unforgettable stinky tofu? And where does this disgusting odor come from? Like many Southeast Asian fish sauces, or even the Swedish pickled herrings, stinky tofu is obviously a fermented food. It is made by soaking tofu in a fermenting brine, where by the action of microorganisms over time, the tofu undergoes a proteolysis. So that's the breakdown of the proteins, which in turn generates these powerful and complicated and complex odors. And basically, during the fermentation process, the microbes in the brine break down proteins into sulfur-containing amino acids, which are then further degraded into malodorous gases, including hydrogen sulfide and ammonium. These are the sources of the stink in the stinky tofu. And these smells are definitely the ones I experienced walking down every street market, every little corner of Taipei, where some food stalls, where everywhere the smells follow you, basically. A bad smell. The cursed, if you want to say cursed, stinky tofu is not only aptly described, but as it seems extremely popular and everywhere. But there is more to chou tofu than just a foul smell. Various aromatic small molecule amino acids are also produced during proteolysis, and these enrich the stinky tofu with a special fragrance, creating a highly layered flavor. Meanwhile, carbohydrates in the tofu are metabolized by various microorganisms into alcohol compounds, which provide a pleasant, mellow, and fruity aroma. So it's this unique blend of pungent, umami, and aromatic elements that give chou tofu its irresistible appeal. The key to the taste of stinky tofu lies to this fermentation brine. Every maker of fresh chou tofu has their own recipe and traditions for the brine. Because the ingredients used in the fermentation brine differ from maker to maker, they produce a wide variety of flavors. And thus, my dear listeners, this beloved Taiwanese staple has some semblance with the Western European blue cheeses. Pungent, stinky, fermented. Needless to say, despite our best efforts, we didn't particularly liked it, to be honest. The smell is way more pungent than I can describe, especially in the night markets with the hot air and the frying smells and all that. And it did put me off from trying it again, although I liked it the first time. Another very important traditional thing in Taiwan is the century eggs. In these, the yolk has a creamy consistency and it's dark green in color, almost black, in fact. Its pungent flavor carries a hint of sulfur, obviously. The egg white, on the other hand, is as glossy and springy as jelly. It's dark brown and translucent. Legend has it that in ancient times, there was a stove made of lime and clay inside a mountain hut. It was covered with ash from a burnt rice plant. A duck went and laid eggs in it. Eventually, these turned into century eggs. Most century eggs are duck eggs. And of course, like most origin stories about certain foods and dishes, like think about Roquefort or the first wine, first cheese, they are just simplified myths of a very complex and long history of human ingenuity. And the century egg is integral to several common Taiwanese dishes, including tofu with century egg, congee with pork and century egg, and Chinese spinach with salted egg and century egg. Basically, they are just preserved eggs, to be honest. Nothing too dodgy here. Basically, eggs that are covered in alkaline paste of wood ash, salt, clay, quicklime, and tea. And they're coated in a rice husk and put away in a sealed container. And then they're left there. And the chemical reactions cause the egg white to darken from anything to an amber to deep black. And in a sense, they're preserved eggs. And you find them throughout Asian places not only Taiwan. And they're lovely, of course. Another very interesting preparation is tofu skin. And it's basically, obviously, like it's made by tofu from soybeans. And basically, during the boiling of the soy milk in a shallow open pan, a film is composed on the surface of the liquid surface, and this is collected and dried and becomes this like skin-like tofu-like yellow sheet. And this is basically dried and used as a meat because of the appearance and everything else. It's very interesting and delicious, actually, way to eat tofu. Another way of eating tofu. And of course, yeah, I mean, it's been in Asia for centuries, not only Taiwan. I think there is a mention in Japan. From the 16th century. There's another reference in China, in text in China from around the same time. And yeah, it was something that I haven't encountered before, to be honest. And yeah, just want to share that with you. Right, let's go to the interview with Cathy Erway. Hello, Cathy.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good, thank you. Thanks for joining me. Welcome to the Delicious Legacy podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Why don't you tell me a little bit about yourself, Cathy?
Yeah, so my name is Cathy Erway. I live in New York. About 10 years ago, I wrote a book called The Food of Taiwan, Recipes from the Beautiful Island, which is apparently the one you're looking at right now. And yeah, it's been an exciting time to see Taiwanese food be embraced around the world, especially in the US. I think the category has really grown in the restaurant scene as well as in cookbooks.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, you are you have a Taiwanese heritage from your mother, I want to say.
Yes, my mother's born and raised in Taipei, and she came to the States when she was in her mid-20s or so.
So you were born in the USA, and then at some point you went to Taiwan. How did that happen?
Yeah, so as I mentioned, my mom came from Taipei at a time when, her family was based in Taipei as well. But she married my dad, who actually went to Taipei for a job and met her there. They moved across the pond and settled the other pond.
Yeah.
And eventually settled in New York, where I was born. And we, over the years, my relatives all sort of immigrated to the States from Taiwan as well. So I didn't really have anybody to visit. I went to Taiwan a couple times. But when I was in college, I had an opportunity to study abroad in Taiwan. And I took that opportunity, and that's when I feel like I really got to experience Taiwan on my own, like without my family and as a young person. And I really got to sort of see how wonderful the food was. And that's like the time when it really crystallized for me that, this is a really unique cuisine, and I want to explore it more.
Yeah. I think we should go a little bit back. And basically, some people don't know what Taiwan is exactly and what Taiwan is exactly. So would you like to give us a little bit of information about that?
Gosh, it's okay. So like just some basic facts.
Yeah.
It is an island. It is right off the eastern coast of China. It is just below the Japanese archipelago and just above the Philippines archipelago. So it has a subtropical environment. So it is about 23 million people strong. And it has a unique history, which is hard to explain in one sentence.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, basically, there's been a long history of all these different indigenous tribes. And in modern times, folks from mainland China have traveled there and made it their home. So you've got a mingling of those groups. And then there was another wave of immigration from mainland China during the middle of the 20th century, during China's Civil War. And that sort of led to the modern Taiwan sort of blended population that you'll find today.
Yeah, this culture. So I went to Taiwan in November. I was there for a couple of weeks, and obviously you can't imagine how many people, when I was telling them here in London and back home in Greece that I'm going to Taiwan, a lot of them, they were asking me, where is Taiwan? Is it an island? And what is the weather? What is the food? It's like, come on, you must know Taiwan. So at least you must know. Some people knew a little bit about the conflict between communist China and the Kai-Cheng, and some people knew that it's an island or the electronics, but they had no clue about all the other stuff. Like, it's a very complex island. I mean, apart from the Chinese culture that you mentioned, there's indigenous tribes as well. There's lots of them.
Yeah. And I think it's something that is celebrated on the island.
Like, I was there a couple of months ago, and I really noticed that. I was in the Beitou hot springs.
Oh, yeah.
And there is like an indigenous people's museum there. Like it's 2 or 3 floors. So yeah, I think more and more you discover a lot about the indigenous culture and cultures of Taiwan. It's really great. Something really nice on your book, you mentioned about the tapioca root and the maple leaf, something like that. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Okay, yes. No, sweet potato leaf.
Sweet potato leaf, yeah, that was it.
So the shapes of these different, very commonly used ingredients. So sweet potato leaf, I should just mention, first and foremost, is a green that is sautéed much like spinach. And of course, it comes from the sweet potato plant. And then there's the sweet potato itself, or yam, or taro root, which is shaped like you would imagine, like the shape of basically, it's kind of like the shape of Taiwan, right? So there is a cultural divide in Taiwan where, before I get into where it is today, within Taiwan for the last century, there has been a cultural divide between folks who were in Taiwan before the mid 1900s, mid 20th century, like that group that I mentioned that emigrated from mainland China during the Civil War. So that group was very varied, and they were from northern China, they were from western China, they were from southern China, they were from eastern China, and so forth. So but they were distinct from the population that was already in Taiwan, which was, for the most part, folks who had emigrated there more than 100 years ago. And they had sort of formed their own Taiwanese society. So people sort of called each other either a taro root or a sweet potato leaf, based on whether your parents or you personally were from whichever group.
Because taro root resembles Taiwan. But the sweet potato leaf kind of resembled China before Manchuria. I found it very, very, very nice metaphor, this one. So indigenous ingredients from the island, like taro, it's one of them.
Okay, I mean, it's from Southeast Asia and India. It's from that whole region. So it's not specifically Taiwan only, but yeah.
I was going to ask you about what kind of sort of indigenous ingredients are in the cuisine.
Yeah, well, you'll find some, if you go to some of those Aboriginal places, like the Beitou hot springs you mentioned, some of the mountainous places that you'll visit in Taiwan, you might find some leafy greens, like a fern that is eaten, and it's really delicious. It has this wonderful crisp texture, and it's kind of frilly looking. So these wild ferns are really enjoyed there. That's part of the indigenous culture. There's also sort of a more distinct type of wild boar that is enjoyed there. There's styles of cooking that are sort of more indigenous, originated from indigenous. There's like mochi, pounded from a distinct kind of, I guess, flour, you could say, that are enjoyed there. There's also, I really enjoyed having like steamed sticky rice steamed inside these bamboo logs that were in some of these Aboriginal villages. So there's definitely a lot of specialties that are still, very enjoyed by everybody in Taiwan from Aboriginal places.
Yeah, you mentioned the wild boar and the pork. That's very central in the cuisine, right?
Hmm. Well, pork in general, I think, is like sort of like the main go-to protein.
Mm. You are listening to the Delicious Legacy podcast by me, Tom Dinas. There's more to come after the break, and it gets better. And do you? I mean, I've tried lots of different pork stuff in Taiwan, and I think the sausages as well. They're kind of unique. They have a very different taste, I think, from what we think in Western.
You think?
Yeah, I think so. What do you think?
I think that, yeah, wherever you go, it's going to have a distinct taste. And it probably has to do with the fact that, how the animals are raised, their diet. In America, we have a lot of factory produced meat,
Mm.
so it's really sort of bland, dry, and Americans had this sort of fat phobia. So they like their pork really lean.
Yeah.
Like there was that whole the other white meat campaign. Whereas like, pork should be more like, red and meaty and gamey and flavorful.
Yeah, definitely. There was a gamey flavor in the meat. It was really different. I had the pork meatballs. I think, like in the mochi
Oh,
thing.
yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about that? Because that's
So the
very.
Yeah, meatball mochi or bawan. It's a real sort of classic Taiwanese dish. It's from southern Taiwan. And I think it really, yeah, that's a great example because it has a lot of textures that are really coveted in Taiwan. You have this slippery, clear, sort of jelly-like wrapper.
Yeah.
And inside it, it's stuffed with minced pork, little bamboo shoots, and there's so many textures going on at once as you eat it, and it's savory and juicy, and it's often served also with a little sauce, a little sweet and sour reddish tomato-based sauce poured on top. So yeah, I think there's a lot of sort of iterations of that type of dish in Taiwan, but that's a great example.
It's very different. It's very unique, I would say. Yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
I think another thing that really struck a chord is like how passionate everybody's about food. Oh my God. How much food is central element. Like you can see
Oh
it.
gosh.
Yeah.
It's so true. Everybody is a foodie in Taiwan. And when I visited there, when I was like spending a semester there in college, I finally realized, oh, these are my people. Because in America, and not everyone is a foodie, but there they really are.
Yeah, it's like, okay, I've seen a few documentaries, like food documentaries talking about Taiwan and going to Taipei, and you think, okay, he meets one or two people, the presenter, and they are obviously knowledgeable.
Mm-hmm.
But when you go there, like everything is about food. Everybody's there eating communally on the streets. There's huge street food markets, and that's the night markets. Like I find it brilliant and also unique. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's how people socialize. And eating out is very cheap. You can sample so many different things at a night market. And like that's the goal, I think, is to try as many exciting, delicious bites until you get full.
Yeah. Certainly, I've done that almost every night because you had to. But I mean, like an average market is like it's a mile or 2 miles long, and you have street vendors on left and right side of the road, and
you got to pace yourself.
Yeah. There's lots of people, like everybody's there having some food. Like you have the omelets, you have seafood, there is the pork, the pepper buns.
Yes, hujiao bean. Those are wonderful sort of baked buns that are stuffed with a peppery pork mixture. It's kind of like a dumpling, but it's baked inside this like tandoor oven that is like circular, and it's found on the street, and it's often like stuffed with scallions and ground pork. But it's just so savory and juicy when you bite into it, freshly baked.
Yeah, it's the best. You have a recipe in the book, which is great. Yeah, but I think like if you don't do it on that clay oven, I think that's very unique. That's very different. It gives it an extra layer, depth of flavor. Like the the Taiwanese cuisine has influences from obviously from mainland China, but also Japan.
Yeah.
But even that, it's more complicated because you have lots of different. So you have the old Chinese influences from the south of China, right?
Mhm. Definitely. Yeah. And then there was this period of Japanese colonization in Taiwan, which was not too long ago. It was
Yeah.
from roughly like 1897 to 1949.
Mm.
So there was a lot of developments that happened during that time. There's a lot of food that kind of stuck around. The idea of the bento box really made a lasting impression in Taiwan.
Right.
It's called biandeng in Taiwan, and that's what you'll find in every like sort of train station, like a set meal with like a box meal with like rice and then your like meat protein, like a pickle and so forth. So, yeah.
Yeah. So what would you say is the unique characteristic of like of the Chinese of the early Chinese influence? What did they bring in the island in terms of food?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so these folks would have migrated from closely across the Taiwan Strait, which is Fujian province. There's a lot of fresh seafood enjoyed here, slightly Swedish flavors. So you get a lot of those sweet and sour sauces, I think, that you'll find on that bawang and that oyster omelet, maybe influence from there. And yeah, just like a kind of fresh, clean profiles. You'll also see everything's made with rice and sticky rice because it's southern Taiwan. Rice grows well in southern climates, whereas the wheat-based stuff, like wheat-based buns and wheat-based noodles, came later in Taiwan, and that's from northern Chinese folks who came, during the turn of the mid-century, mid-20th century. So yeah, that's one big distinction you'll see. If it's a wheat-based product, it's newer. If it's rice-based, it's probably from the older folks or older, longer in Taiwan folks.
Yeah. And the seafood as well, and fish, like it's very popular. Like everywhere there was clams and oysters and
Definitely.
calamari.
Yeah, you can go to these great. I think that this is like a thing you'll find around the world where there's like a great sort of shore. You'll see all these seafood markets where it's just like fresh as can be seafood pulled ashore and then cooked for you at some sort of hut or small roadside restaurant. So that's something that you can definitely get in Taiwan.
Oh God, I'm salivating now. The classic thing, like one dish that is making think of Taiwan. What is it for you?
Ooh, the one like dish. I mean, I don't want to. I mean, the national dish, I think that everyone would say nowadays is like the most commonly recognized and certainly most popular in the United States right now is beef noodle soup.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, it's this time of year. It's cold here in New York. It's just what I crave right now.
Yeah. How would you make it?
Ooh, okay. So you have some beef shank meat and that's it. You just braise it for a long time with soy sauce, some aromatics like star anise, one tomato smash that'll sort of dissolve into nothing, ginger, garlic, a scallion or two, throw in some rice wine, throw in a little bit of chili paste or not, and then let that bubble, simmer away until the meat is soft and tender. And then you cook your noodles separately and add the soup.
Perfect. I mean, yeah, it sounds quite straightforward, really. But yeah, it's the flavor is something else.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's so satisfying.
So good. And there's also a big culture of dumplings as well, right?
Yes, definitely. Dumplings of all kinds. In Taiwan, soup dumplings or xiaolongbao are really popular as well. It's not something you would make every day. It's more of like a special skill to make. But certainly just everyday sort of pot stickers or jiaozi are really enjoyed throughout like Taiwan. Like you'll find small pot stickers, like it's kind of like fast food, right? You'll get a little box of like 5 or 6 of them and it's just the best thing ever. And people make them at home all the time. I make dumplings all the time as well.
I need to start making dumplings. So good. I think my so obviously I kind of knew a little bit about the influences of Taiwanese cuisine and the flavors and the profiles a little bit before I went there. But one thing that I didn't find anywhere else before, to be honest. I don't know why, but anyway, the point is that it was the stinky tofu.
Oh, you're right. That is a very distinct Taiwanese specialty. I mean, you'll find it in some form or another elsewhere in China. Certainly, there's other things that are stinky and soy based, like natto from Japan. But yeah, in Taiwan, they really enjoy their stinky tofu all over the place in all sorts of ways.
Yes, can you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, so one common street food snack is fried blocks of stinky tofu. And you can smell this cart coming down the block, actually a few blocks away, probably. Did you have that experience?
Yeah.
Why does it smell like fried garbage right now?
Every day, I think somewhere else I could smell.
Okay, so the whole city is perfumed with this, basically.
Yeah.
Did you like it?
I mean, the smell, no, but I mean, I had a little, as you said, fried stinky tofu, and it was very tasty. But
it's tasty, right? Yeah,
the smell is very different.
Like cheese, right? There's levels of stinkiness, I think. So some are more pungent and some are less.
Yeah, so basically people make it, not people, you won't make it at home, but you would make it in a kind of factory-based, but people have their own recipes and their own ways of making, right?
Yeah, different producers are going to, just like, tofu, like you don't usually make homemade tofu from scratch or age your own pickles. I mean, you might, I don't know, but it's more like you would buy it from like a special maker of that.
How do they do it then? Do you have an idea? Because
they basically submerge tofu in a brine, and that brine is probably reused so many times that it has acquired so many different flavors over time. Salts, but also aromatics that have just sort of been around fermenting. So it's like fermented, onions and all kinds of stuff, right? So that's what's in the brine. And this tofu is submerged in the brine for a certain amount of time. If it's younger, it's less pungent. If it's longer, it's going to be not only more pungent, but the tofu will turn a more sort of creamy consistency. And soft. And like, that's the kind you might be like, oh, that's too much for me.
Yeah, like if you have a very, very pungent, soft cheese, I suppose you're like, ooh.
Yeah.
No, but it's not. That's
I like the kinds that I can taste a little bit of a zing and like a little bit of, effervescence or like, tang or something. I don't know. I can't describe it.
It's very difficult to describe it, right? Yeah. And like, I didn't know about that before I went to Taiwan. And first night out, went somewhere near in our hotel in Taipei. It was a nice recommendation. I've got a friend who is from Taipei, lives there. And went there with my wife, had our little dinner. So we tried a lot of different things. And we saw this, I think it was like parcels, like stuffed parcels with stinky tofu. And it was like, oh, let's try this. It sounds interesting. And I mean, it was nothing I expected, really. It was very different. I was very surprised because this idea of, again, you ferment something and it's a bit like cheese, but it's something different. And just really amazing.
It has a funkiness that is just its own thing entirely.
Yeah.
Oh, I should also mention that those really sort of creamy, like long fermented blocks of stinky tofu can be found in jars, and you can use a tiny little bit of it to flavor a stir fry, and a little touch of it will go a long way, and you won't taste stinkiness. It'll just be like, oh, sort of an undertone in that flavor. So there's a recipe in my book for sauteed water spinach that has garlic and a little kind of, teaspoon or half a teaspoon of that fermented tofu, and it really just dissolves into the sauce.
Yeah, that sounds great. The other thing that I really liked, I was in Mao Kong, right in the tea.
Oh, cool.
In the tea place, county, and I was so we did a little bit of a walk, and
Did you take the gondola?
Yes, we did.
Isn't that fun? Yeah,
so much fun. It's so amazing.
That's great.
And then we walked for a couple of hours around the countryside. And then we found a tea house, some hidden in some tea plantation and stuff. And obviously they have food as well. Like there's nothing without food in Taiwan. So we sat for lunch and tea, and obviously we had a tea ceremony and all that stuff. But the food, we had this very simple thing like noodles. We had very thin, long noodles, and they were flavored with some tea oil, something like that.
Oh, yes. And I love that about going to these tea growing regions. You'll get this toasted, super fragrant tea seed oil. And it's hard to describe anything else, but it's a little bit greenish. It'll be freshly pressed. And it's a little roasty, toasty, kind of like sesame oil, but a little tea also. It's so good.
Where can I find it? I want it.
I
need
know.
it.
Trust me, I wish I could find it as well. Tea seed oil. I'm not sure if you can find it here, to be honest.
Oh my God.
Or in Greece. I'm not sure.
Yeah, definitely not in Greece, but I need it. It was so good.
Yeah, it's so good.
Yeah. And then obviously tofu, like fried tofu with a bit of ground pork as a flavoring and chili. Yeah. It's just...
Well, I mean, I think that goes to say like freshly pressed oils are just really good.
Yeah. You're absolutely right. Yeah, that's that. You're listening to the Delicious Legacy podcast by me, Thom Dinas. There's more to come after the break, and it gets better. So we mentioned like the kind of the national thing, the beef noodles and this other the stinky tofu. What else would you suggest people to look for if they want to find something uniquely Taiwanese, basically?
Yeah, so I do think the oyster omelet, which we sort of mentioned, is a great example of a really classic Taiwanese dish. And this is more like a snack or a night market sort of treat. But it's oysters, which are found plentifully throughout Taiwan. It could be, oysters might be on top of your noodle soup, or it could be in this omelet or a stir fry. But so you'll have these big plump oysters, an egg, and then you'll have this like starch. It's like a sweet potato starch solution with water. So it's basically starch and water that you mix together. But once you pour it on a hot pan, it solidifies into a clear gel, basically. And it adds like stretchy, chewy texture to this omelet that is really fun.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, and people just love it. So yeah, that's a Taiwanese oyster omelet, or oajian.
That's fantastic.
I think it has Fujianese roots, but it's really, really popular in Taiwan.
And there's another, similar scallion pancakes. That's another.
You're gonna find scallion pancakes all over the street. Sometimes with an egg, sometimes rolled up and then dipped in a little bit of like sweet soy sauce. That would be something, because scallion pancakes are wheat-based, that was embraced a little bit later, so 1950s on in Taiwan. But it's definitely ubiquitous. Another famous dish I forgot to mention is 3-cup chicken. It's a really popular dish. It's irresistible. It's basically a braise of chicken with a lot of soy sauce, sesame oil, and rice wine. So that's like 3 cups. It means like 3 cups of each of these things. That's like your rudimentary recipe, basically.
Yeah.
But just like add tons of whole garlic cloves and big slices of ginger, and that's your braise, and sugar.
And then you eat that with a broth or just the chicken?
No, over rice.
Over rice?
It's just kind of like a saucy stir fry.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
I don't think I had that. I had like a cold braised chicken in a wine. I had that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but not that. That sounds very nice as well. There is this thing, I suppose a lot of the flavor profiles, there's a lot of this chewy and this jelly-like texture that it's quite popular in Taiwan, right?
Yes, it is. And there's a word for it, which is Q. And it's just a really well-loved texture. So anything sort of bouncy or springy or chewy, like mochi, and it's just really, really beloved there. And you'll see it a lot in Taiwan.
Yeah. And I mean, there's all sort of different levels and ways to experience that, like from chewy noodles or from
Totally.
from fat from the pork belly or whatever. Yeah, there's so
Yeah.
many different variations, and yeah, I think
Cartilage, that's
yeah,
one.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Chicken feet, people love that. Again, very popular street food, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that
Yep.
was really everywhere. I think I found it almost in every night market I've been, and that reminds me also the tea eggs,
Mm.
which
Yes.
they look a bit scary for a Western European, but they're delicious. Can you tell us a little bit about
Do
that?
they? I think they look kind of beautiful. But okay, so you go to any convenience store and there's this vat or like this crock pot plugged in, and it has a whole bunch of brown colored eggs in a brown colored broth. They're hard boiled. The shells have been sort of cracked all over so that, it has this like eggshell crackle pattern. And once you peel the eggs, the whites have also been stained in this beautiful eggshell crackle pattern with tea and soy sauce. That's basically what's making the broth brown.
Yeah.
And but they're salty, they're tea-y, and it's delicious. It's a great snack.
It's a great snack. I mean, no, the scary thing, not the scary, but the shocking thing is like when you see them on the crock boiling on your
Yes.
local supermarket.
You're like,
what's
wait,
going on here?
what happened to those eggs?
But
Why
yeah.
are they all broken? Yeah.
But when you peel it and you look at it, it's beautiful. Anyway, the pattern is beautiful, but also the taste and everything else is just a genius idea. Again, like a brilliant snack. Like
yeah, it's warm. Yeah,
yeah,
it's great.
It's great. I love it.
Yeah.
Do the Taiwanese have a sweet tooth, you find, or you think?
I think so. Yeah. Now let's remember, Taiwan was like a place where like sugar was grown, right? So the Dutch came in and started growing sugar in the 1500s.
Oh, of course.
So I don't know. I mean, a lot of cultures have a sweet tooth, right? So maybe that has something to do with it. But yeah, you'll see sugar cane juice, sugar cane snacks, in Taiwan in some parts, but rock sugar is used primarily for cooking. This is what gives a lot of braises, like your, pork belly, right? Like your red braised pork belly, a little bit of sweetness. It's just a really common ingredient.
Yeah, I mean, the pork belly is so lovely.
Yeah.
And of course, you have lots of fermented stuff as well, like the fermented bean, the black beans.
Yeah, sauces, definitely.
The
Definitely
shrimp,
yellow fermented bean sauce or dobenjang is used a lot. And that's like just a sort of like a more chunky, sometimes it has chili, sometimes it doesn't, but it's like a savory, very umami paste that you can add to your cooking.
What's your favorite one? Do you have a favorite one, or it depends with the food that you're eating?
Favorite which?
Like, sauce,
sauce?
condiment type of thing.
Well, let's see. I mean, I think for everyday, like finishing, well, I mean, sauces are all used for different purposes. Like I wouldn't want to make any mapo tofu without dobenjang. Like you need that in the sauce. But for things like if you want to dip your dumplings in something, in Taiwan, there's a thick soy sauce or it's just basically called thick soy sauce in English, but it's thickened with a little bit of traditionally it's thickened with some glutinous rice grains, and it just makes the soy sauce a little lighter in taste and a little thicker in body, so it's a little bit more dippable. And I think that's something you'll find throughout Taiwan. It's on the table with the vinegar and other condiments, chili sauce, at a dumpling stall.
Yeah. That's great. Another thing I was a bit baffled with it was the coffin cake.
Oh, that's a weird one. I agree. It's definitely so coffin cake is a specialty and of street food that, I mean, I think somebody just invented it because they thought it was cool.
Yeah.
It definitely is eye-catching. It's unique. But it's basically a thick slice of milk bread, or Japanese shokupan, and it's deep fried. And then they cut off a window or like a door
Mm-hmm.
of like the top so that you can fill the inside with basically like a corn chowder, like a chicken corn chowder.
Yeah, it's not sweet. It's basically a savory cake thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. It's like a bread bowl.
Yeah, yeah. It's really nice. It's very
Yeah.
different.
Yeah. So I think that boba is definitely one of the most recognizable Taiwanese specialties. And it's now just all over the world. It's at Starbucks, so it was something that was invented in Taiwan. Again, it has that chewy jelly, like gummy texture that is so coveted in Taiwan. And yeah, that really just has like sort of taken the world by storm.
How do they make it?
So the pearls are made from tapioca. Tapioca is something that comes from the cassava root. So this was actually not something native to Taiwan, but cassava roots are native to the Americas or Central and South America. So basically you grate the cassava root so you get this like starch from it, and you can make the pearls from the starch. So,
right,
and they're
okay.
usually flavored with brown sugar. So that's why they have a brown color in Taiwan.
Right. Yeah. Again, it has taken the world by storm, right? It's everywhere.
Has. Yeah.
It's everywhere. It's mad. I guess, being a bit sweet and obviously all that stuff. Yeah, it's easy to see why. The other thing I started finding lately in London is Taiwanese fried chicken.
Oh yeah, definitely yan suji. So this is a real great and just crowd pleasing street food snack in Taiwan as well. So it's fried chicken bites. I want to say, I think I called it in my book, the recipe for it, fried chicken bites. But it's sort of bite-sized piece of chicken or popcorn chicken that have been marinated with soy sauce, rice wine, garlic, white pepper, kind of like basic Taiwan-centric seasonings. And then it is crusted with like a starch, like a sweet potato starch crust that is actually really crunchy. And once it's just deep fried, it's just sprinkled with a little bit more, dusting powder with like savory white pepper and salt. And then usually the vendors fry a bunch of basil leaves and they kind of scatter that around on the fried chicken. So you have that little whiff of fried basil, or like, maybe you have broken shards of the fried basil on your pieces of chicken and a little whiff of basil as you're eating it too.
So good. Almost everywhere. Yeah, the food was universally great. And there was a few days we had, the weather is generally hot and humid, but we had a few days of rain, like really big rains, tropical rains. But even in this hot weather, people love to eat hot pot.
Yeah, definitely. Sure, why not? There's a lot of just hot soup eaten throughout every season. I think in Taiwan, even though it's such a hot place, but hot pot is such a fun communal meal. I mean, if you're out with a bunch of friends, I think that's just a fun thing to do.
Yeah, I think that's definitely the reason why. Yeah, and you can put anything you like in there. You have all this different stuff coming, and you have vegetables and
then
meats.
At the end of the meal, the broth is so delicious.
Yes. At the end, the broth has so much flavor that you're
right?
like, I'm going to drink this. It's so good. I had a spicy broth once when I was there with. There was like a bit of tripe, beef tripe and some insides and stuff like that. But there was also duck blood in little cubes, like jelly cubes. That was something that I've never seen before.
Where in the dessert?
No, it was coming with a broth basically. So
yes, jelly cubes in the broth. Yeah, so that would be, I think, blood pudding.
Yeah, like that. I think it was saying it was duck blood pudding.
Duck blood pudding. Yeah. I mean, pudding isn't the right term for it. It's more like duck blood jelly blocks. I think that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, you see blood sausage. You see, I don't know, all sorts of like, traditionally blood is used in cooking, in culinary, in like lots of different ways. So that's just one way to do it. And I think that it doesn't taste like much. Like, did you try it?
Yeah. Had it.
Yeah, it's kind of mild tasting, right? But it has a fun texture that adds contrast.
Yeah, I think it was a little bit irony in taste, but other than that, it was very mild, to be honest. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you didn't know that it's blood, you're like, yeah, okay. Yeah, some people are getting grossed out with these things, but yeah, for me it was fine. It was fine. It was good.
Awesome.
And the broth was spicy, and then you mix all these different kind of. You go for like scallions and coriander, and it was so good. I think Taiwanese food culture is really. I don't want to say unique, but it's so convivial. We should all really be more like that, to be honest.
I agree. It is a great way to live. Yeah. So we're not, hurriedly cooking for one all the time or two all the time. It's just like, go out with your friends and eat more often.
Exactly. We should more often. Have you been to Taiwan recently?
No, because there was the pandemic, and then I had a baby in 2023. And so I just, long travel.
Yeah.
Still figuring that out. Yeah.
Yeah. Fine. Cathy, thank you so much for coming here and telling me all about Taiwanese culture and cuisine. It's been fantastic to talk to you.
Absolutely. It's been fun too. So thank you for having me.
Thank you. And talk to you soon.
Okay. Thanks so much, Thomas. Have a good one.
Cheers. Bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
And that's it. That's the episode for today. Thanks for listening. And if you like this episode, please subscribe to my Patreon page and become a member from $3 a month, where you get the podcast early and ad-free. And also, if you want, leave a rating wherever you listen to podcasts from. My recommendation for this week is a book called The Library of Ancient Wisdom by Selena Wisnom, The Mesopotamia and the Making of History, which I came across recently. So that's a very nice book about Mesopotamia history. And podcast-wise, I would recommend the Ottoman History podcast, which I've discovered recently, and had to listen to a couple of very interesting episodes. So there are plenty of episodes to choose from about all aspects of the Ottoman history. And another one is The Hungry Historians by Kelly A. Spring and Matt Philpott. And basically, it's a food history podcast. And the latest episode is Sake with Eric C. Roth, who was also a guest in The Delicious Legacy when we talked about history of Japanese cuisine maybe a couple of years ago. Also, of course, I'm going to recommend Cathy Erway's book, The Food of Taiwan, which is a great book with some very delicious, obviously, but also simple enough recipes for us to do. And that's it for today. Thanks for listening. I've been Thomas Dinas, and this was the Delicious Legacy podcast. See you again next week for another archaeogastronomical adventure. Bye.